Hello, my name is Jim McGillivray and this is the Pipe Box, your source for all things piping. If you find this video useful, please give it a like, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel to see more videos like this. We're going to go over a tune today, and you can print the music out for this tune by going back to the description of this video on my YouTube channel. You will see a link to a PDF there. Today I would like to do with you one of our more popular slow airs. In fact, it's one of our most popular Scottish songs. The tune came down to us from this two-parted Scottish song called the Skye Boat Song. The Skye Boat Song commemorates the journey of bonnie Prince Charlie across the Minch in a small rowboat from Benbecula to Skye after the Battle of Culloden in 1746, when he had to hide from British soldiers. The tune itself went through various sets of words over the years since it was first composed. The tune was taken from a tune called The Cuckoo in the Grove. The words we hear today were written in the 1880s by Sir Harold Bolton. I'm sure you've heard them. The chorus and first verse go like this. Speed, bonny boat, like a bird on the wing, onward the sailors cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king over the sea to Skye. Loud the winds howl, loud the waves roar, thunderclaps rend the air. Baffled our foes stand by the shore, follow they will not dare. As slow airs go, it's a fairly easy tune. It's a good tune for intermediate level players or even advanced beginners. For the sake of the advanced beginners or beginners who may be here, I'm going to give you a slightly easier version of the tune that you may wish to play until you have the technique capable of playing the standard version. Okay, let's start by listening to the whole tune played on a Blair digital chanter. That's the standard version of the tune. I will record an easier version later on in this video for you. Let's have a quick look at the whole score. The tune is in 6/8 time. It's a waltz. It has two main beats in each bar, like this. Do-ba-dum-bree, oh-ba-dee-a-dee, hey-da-dee-ho-bro-ho-bro. But it also has 6/8 notes in each bar. So while your foot may tap twice in each bar, in the back of your musical mind, you are going to hear this. Do ba do bree o ba dee a dee he a dee ho bro 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you want that 6-pulse rhythm going on all the time when you're playing a tune like this, and it will tell you exactly where each note goes. The tune is structured a little differently from most tunes. You'll notice that the first part repeats, the second part repeats, and then we return to the first part, which is the chorus. Let's look at the first bar. You'll see that I have circled 3 grace notes here, a G grace note, a D grace note, and an E grace note. You will recognize that as a G, D, E grace note pattern, one of our most common patterns. The D grace note in the middle is what I call a rising D grace note. In other words, it goes from a low note up to a higher note. It goes from low A to B with a D grace note on it. If you find that tricky, if you're a beginner or advanced beginner and find that tricky, I do have a video on D grace notes on this channel, and you might wish to have a look at it. The B 16th note is short, but it's not too short. Don't crush it out of existence. Try to avoid this. Don't snatch at it. At the end of bar 1 is a couplet, 2 notes that have a lot of tails on them. You can see the first note has 2 tails, the second one has 3. That makes it a very short note. These notes are not as short as they look, so when you hit them, don't think you have to plow through them quickly. They're fairly relaxed, so the first bar sounds like this. Nice open short notes. Bar 2, I've circled an F16th note in the middle of the first grouping of notes. Same as in bar 1, we're going to keep that F nice and open. We're not going to crush it. Bar 3 begins with a half doubling. What is important with half doublings is that you play them exactly on the beat. The very first note in the half doubling is on the beat. In other words, when you go from high A, when you hit the F, your foot hits the floor. The grace note comes afterwards. Avoid this. Okay, wait for your half doublings. This bar ends with a torlua. The easier version ends with a grip. Torlua is a fairly complex piece of technique that may need some extra work if you're still a beginner or advanced beginner. I do have a video on torluas. I have a video on D throws, which are also in this tune as well. And I have a video on grips. They're all here. So the torlua at the end of this bar, try to keep it nice and open and rippling. The part finishes with a burl. I have a video on that as well. The first swipe of your burl is on the beat. Okay, not the second swipe. Okay, before I play the first part on the practice channel, I just want to sing it for you and show you exactly how it counts. Ho ba do bri, ho ba di a do di, he a di ho bro, ho bro, ho ba do bri, ho ba di a di, he a di ho bro, ho. Don't hesitate to try to sing the tune before you try to play it. If you can't sing a tune, you won't be able to play it. Singing's a great way to figure out how to play tunes. Okay, let's hear the first part on the practice channel. In the second part, let's look at both bars 1 and 2. Both bars start with a 3-note grouping, and I've circled the middle note in each grouping. It's a short note, it's a 16th note, and as we did in the first part, we are not going to make those notes too short. We're not going to crush them. We're going to keep them well articulated. Avoid You'll notice as well that I have circled 3 G grace notes. In these 2 bars we have an F doubling, we have an E doubling, and we have another E doubling. Each starts with a G grace note. If you are at all familiar with my rhythmic fingerwork technical tutor, one of the premises of that book and one of the premises of all of our piping technique is that the first grace note in a doubling comes on a beat, not the second grace note. For example, bar 1. Wait for that beat. Try not to do this. That's an early F doubling. Here's an F doubling on the beat. The G grace note finger hits the chanter when your foot hits the floor. Bar 2, same thing, now we're on E doublings. In bar 3, we have right in the middle of the bar that couplet again that looks like it should be played very quickly because it's very short, but it's not. Bar 3. The D strike with the G grace note in front of it is very much like a doubling. The G grace note is on the beat. That's everything we need to look at in the second part. Let's see how it counts, and then we'll hear it played on the practice chanter. Let's hear part 2 played on the chanter. That's the standard version of the tune, played somewhere between 40 and 43 beats per minute. I triple time that, so it's around 124 beats per minute. Okay, as promised, I have a slightly easier version for those of you who might find the standard version a little above your technical capabilities. I'm not going to go through it here in detail. Everything that was said about the standard version applies to the easier version as well. So let's hear the simplified version of the Skye Boat Song played on the Blair Digital Chanter. If you're an advanced beginner, you might want to start out with the easier version and graduate to the standard version when you are ready for it. If you play this tune around Scots, you might find they sing along with you. It's a tune that could also be played in a funeral setting if you wanted to avoid the standard Amazing Grace fare. Okay, that is it for Speed Bonnie Boat, the Skye Boat Song. From me, Jim McGillivray of the Pipe Box, good piping.